Sagar, welcome to our podcast. And I'm super excited to have you here. I do believe a lot of people in the ecosystem know you very well. And we've had a lot of questions asking in regards with you, because I know Hemi posted that we'll be shooting something with yourself. So a few people actually reach out and ask a couple of questions. So to start, talk us a little bit through your career so far, what you've done in the ecosystem, how did you get there? Anything you feel like sharing?
Yeah. Thank you, Nicolita. Thanks for having me, and thanks for this podcast. I'm excited and thrilled for this one. Uh, yes, about my journey. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself, Sagar Patnoorkar. I have been ecosystem of Salesforce for 12 and a half years now. And I'm glad that I started my career with Salesforce. Back in 2006, Salesforce was a new product, and I started with them in 2010. Uh, I would like to highlight I completed my engineering in 2008, and that time it was hit by recession.
Wow.
And it was tough to get the job in the IT market. So I had to do some job courses. So if you look at my initial career path, it was more towards .NET and Java. That time it was more like if you have one of those skills, you will get a job. So I started with the .NET as a .NET developer. There was a recession hit period, and then I passed through that. And in 2010, I started a career with Fujitsu Consulting India as a Salesforce developer. Sorry, as a .NET developer. And then, fortunately, my manager came and he said, as you are a fresher, you can be molded as they like. So they offered me to go into Salesforce. So I was a little bit skeptical because that time Salesforce was a new product and nobody knew about it. And I didn't know I wanted to go for a fixed path, a growth path, or a new path. And we thought like Salesforce is really like selling something. Is it a platform? Because cloud was quite a new thing in 2008 and 2010. So I was like, do you really need to go into Salesforce or stick to your basic of .NET? But then, fortunately, I made that move and I moved to Salesforce. So that's how I started my career in Salesforce as a developer. So I was in the onshore and offshore delivery model. So I was working with the US counterpart. So I got, when you start as a fresher, you get small module to work on. So I started with Apex triggers, creating some remote visual force pages, and then moving the data into Salesforce, out of Salesforce. And to tell you about this, there were no documentation because Salesforce was quite new. Nowadays, you get trailheads, a lot of exposure of the use cases, and that time you really have to dig out from the reference document that Salesforce has provided, and then you have to mold it into your particular use case. So that time, I might be sounding old, but I came from the time where we had workflows. Nowadays, we have flows, we have process builders. There are a lot of automated ways to do the configuration also. So yeah, so I came from the world where we configured workflows, field updates, email alerts. So yeah, but it's nice to see the Salesforce product has grown so much in those years. So when I started, it was only Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and the Force.com. So those were the three variants. But nowadays we get much more: Marketing Cloud, Media Cloud, Energy Cloud. So you tell and you have that domain specific product on Salesforce. So I started my journey in Fujitsu Consulting India with a lot of good colleagues and mentors. So they groomed me. They show me how it can be done with Salesforce easily. So in Fujitsu, I got exposure to the development, also hacks and reporting. I'm fortunate enough. Then I made a move to Wipro as a team lead. So that's the standard career path of an Indian IT guy. Like you start somewhere, you get experience, you get exposure to the things, and then you move to the next step. So I joined Wipro. in sense like I want to go to onshore. So I didn't know what onshore I will get. So I started with them. I was a team lead. I worked for a big banking company in US. I was managing their Salesforce portfolio for the contract management and also managing their sales cloud with a team of 10 people. So at that time, I was mentoring also and grooming myself also. And then an opportunity popped up towards me to join a huge brand in manufacturing, which was Philips. So I got to work with them, and with my work, they were happy. And my manager said, "Now, Sagar, it's time for you to come to onshore." And for me, the onshore was Netherlands. So this happened somewhere between 2014 and 16. So I came to Netherlands between 2014 and 15, and then I started my career in Netherlands. So here we were doing a huge implementation for Philips for a service cloud, which is kind of a highlight for Salesforce also because Philips is a huge customer of Salesforce. They have a lot of implementation going on, and we did the implementation of one of the healthcare unit in US to automate the case flow and send the device to the uh, old people. So if you look at in the US, Philips has some devices which gives you pills at your particular time.
Mm-hmm.
And this devices runs on the battery. So if that battery goes low, the device sends the signal. Device signal get converted into a case in Salesforce, which in turn creates an order saying your battery has been low, so we will ship a new device to you with a new battery. So before you know your battery is low and you need to replace it, you get a new device at your doorstep. In that way, you already are secured with your pills and there is no delay in dispensing. Also, there was alarms, like if pills have been missed for twice or thrice, your emergency contact immediately get an update saying the pills have been missing for 3 times. Now you have to do something, or it will call the ambulance also. So it was
That's
like we were dealing.
life-saving projects, like no
Yes,
jokes. Wow, okay.
exactly. That's what's very critical. Like whatever we were doing, we need the FDA approval because we were playing with someone's life. So if the data that we enter on the case and the address becomes like a street name or a street house number also changes, the ambulance can go wrong into different houses and the emergency services won't be reached at the moment. So you see the criticality of the data. It's very critical. The data validation needs to be critical. So we were dealing with really like a life, what say, threatening situations, and we will. The data can save people's life. Doing after doing this project, I got insecure, saying like now I'm getting the same repetitive kind of work. So this is my habit. So maybe it's my personality. Like whenever I see a repetitive work coming to me, it doesn't bother me. It becomes like a stagnancy for me. So I want some growth. So I want some new projects or new exposure, meeting new people. So that's my personality. Then I get into some good opportunity. This was like out of nowhere. I got a call from recruiter and he says, we are recruiting for eBay. So you see the transition. I was working for a services company and I got a call from the product company to work for. So that was very different kind of experience. So I said, why not? Let's try it out. Now I have worked for services for 6 years. Let's try out something new.
Which one do you prefer? If you had to look back, would you say that with service-based companies you'll get that?
I will get that. So yeah. So product company, of course, things are different, right? In product company, always the business continuity. You have to deliver the things in parallel, and you don't have to break the system, or you cannot down the system for some time because all the business users are currently using the system. So that was a nice exposure. Also got to know how to do the stakeholder management because I was directly talking to CFO because I was talking to his team. I was talking to customer service head because they were directly using Salesforce knowledge. So a lot of things. And then I built their invoicing system. At a single button click, you can generate millions of invoices in 30 minutes on Salesforce. So I built the system for them, and that's what I like to do. That makes me happy. Like if you have a business problem, it can make your life easier, then please, I can see what I can do with Salesforce. And that's how you also grow. So it's mutual. The business also grow and you grow as a person. So that was really nice. And it was very intriguing. I asked my question, what is next? And in Netherlands, what I got to know is like if your network is good, you will always get a good opportunity. So I was fortunate in one of the world tour. I meet a friend of mine who was in eBay before me, and then he presented me the opportunity of joining this startup called Vlocity. So in 2017, you see the opportunity pops up, and he said, "This is a product company, and you will be working for services of a product company." Now that's the answer to your question. So I have to do both. So I get the product also. My feedback goes to product back in the gap analysis, and then I get the services also. So I become their services guy who can sell that product. So I get best of both. I get best of product also. I get best of services also. And then I said, yes, why not? It was a risk also because we didn't know whether Vlocity will fly or this product will sell off because the concept was quite new. Salesforce for industries. And back in 2017, nobody believed like Salesforce platform can be used for the specific industries and have business processes. Mostly people uses Salesforce as a CRM, but nowadays the vision is changing. The Salesforce can be used as a business support services also, and some part of operational support services. So it can support both BSS and OSS. But for me, it was more on the BSS side. So I was supporting the commercial business processes, guiding how we can utilize the Vlocity platform. That time also, the Vlocity documentation was limited. So you see, I always started with a limited documentation, and then I explore my way through it by doing hands-on. So that's what I like to do. So if I want to present something or if I want to tell something, I should know that thing first to explain in a logical way. And of course, sometimes I get some technical terms and sometimes I explain in a very technical way, but it depends on the different stakeholders nowadays. So when I talk to a developer, I talk in the technical terms. When I talk to a stakeholder, I talk to their business language. So you see, there are parts that get mold me into the architect. So when I joined Vlocity, they offered me the position of technical architect. I was a senior technical architect when I joined Vlocity. And when I started, I was quite new to the product. I didn't have much knowledge because OmniScript, Data Raptor, these are the new terms. And now you are going into the niche. The Salesforce was the niche. And then on top of that, you have Vlocity, which was the nichest. Like, if you go in the market, you won't find any resource at that time. So I was fortunate, and then I got an opportunity to do the training in San Francisco, so where the product has been developed. So Vlocity was kind enough to send me the training in San Francisco in Salesforce Towers. So that was quite a nice experience, and also got to meet the product team who has developed this product from the scratch. Good to know their vision and the data model. They are very intelligent chaps who have done a lot of good things with the product. But of course, with the CRM, there are limitations. So you always hit the limitations.
You were basically there when the history was made.
You can say, as I said, I'm being fortunate that I got to meet these people in my career. I got to know a lot of good mentors in my career who have shown me the path. And then I was very fortunate to start with all these new technologies. You see, I started with Salesforce in 2010, and then I started with Vlocity in 2017, and now I'm still continuing with the SFI industries, as you know. But with Vlocity also, there are challenges because your product is new, and then the customer comes with the query, and then like they ask for the simple thing, but your product is not yet completely developed, right? The same pattern as Salesforce followed, right? Salesforce is the world's biggest marketing company who sells a concept before it has been developed.
Mm-hmm.
So on the same line, Velocity has done it. They have the base product, and with the customer feedback, they were growing. So I was their point of contact for most of the customer. So I was working in telco for 3 years when I was with Velocity. I was working with the two biggest telcos in Netherlands. So I started, for one, I was doing the core implementation. When I say Velocity Core, it consists of the digital interaction platform, which is basically OmniScript, data raptors, integration procedures, cards. So all this stuff, which helps you to automate the business process. Uh, but I get more exposure when I join the next customer, which is the biggest telco in Netherlands, because they were doing quite a lot with Velocity platform. They were using the full stack of Velocity, which is CPQ, digital core, and some part of the order management. So everything, like you see, I was growing gradually. So I started with core, then I went to CPQ, EPC. So I got exposure to the product modeling, how we can model the product. There are different ways to do that. So if I give you an example, like how do you want to sell off your Apple Watch? There are different variants, right? So how do you configure those variants? You can say Apple Watch as a single product with 45 size, or you can say Apple Watch with 55 size. So you see, there are different ways to do it, but what is the optimum way for the system? That's where the architect comes in, because with the experience, you get to know which limitation you're going to hit in your path of the implementation, and which limitation you can avoid. If you do the base right, your product modeling will be good and your performance of the system will be good. But if you messed up the base, the structure won't be good. The implementation will be crappy.
All interconnected and interlinked, yeah.
I was fortunate again. I was in a greenfield energy project, which started in 2020. And it was for a big customer in Netherlands. It was Shell Energy, and they were started into energy business as a new business for B2C. So they were starting from the scratch. So, and they chose Salesforce as a platform, and even their website and everything, all the APIs will be in Salesforce. So it was quite an interesting project, and it was quite a pioneer project for Salesforce, that what we have delivered has been replicated to different projects now. So what we have done is basically started with the customer journey. Nowadays, you go on online, right? On a comparison website, you see, okay, this is my energy consumption, this is my gas consumption. Show me a good offer. And in Netherlands market is like always a 1 year, 3 year, or a variable offer. So, but you see, based on your address, you get the correct offer with the prices that you will pay at the end of the year, which is quite important, right? So it should not be a surprise to end of the year. Oh, that was not my offer, and I'm paying more than 2,000 euros extra. So that's not a good customer experience. So we are trying to avoid that at the start itself. So when you get the order, we already know if the order can be fulfilled, whether your gas line is available on your house or not, or energy can be provided or not. So all these checks need to be done. So we build 30 odd integrations with the different systems to get this data, to fulfill it, and then to get your customer activated in 15 days with automated flow. So I don't
That's
have to click anything. It creates the customer. It's just like you go online, you go into some customer journey, fill the questions of your address, consumptions, and everything is automated. You don't have to do anything.
whoa! I
And
did another impressive project under your
yeah,
belt.
yes. So it's quite nice. As I said, I've been fortunate. Like all the team members that I have got in all those projects were very good at the thing that they do. It was a learning curve also, but also it was very happy to work with them and happy to share the knowledge. And it doesn't feel you like it's work. It's really like a experience that you go through. And each day you wake up and see, okay, I have to do this. And it makes me really excited. Like I'm building something, I'm giving a business value. That's what I'm looking for. So if I'm designing something, what's the business value? What's the impact? What's the difference I'm making in someone's life
Yeah.
by doing this?
You keep saying you were fortunate enough, but I think it was, of course, a lot, as you said, on the network. That's a very strong, card to have nowadays. But also your
Mm.
willingness to actually
Yes.
go ahead and be above and beyond, and
Mm.
try different things always, and not being afraid to take up, a new challenge. That's also a huge part for, anyone
Yes.
to grow. It's important to.
Hmm.
But go ahead,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Nicoleta. So that's correct. So I was getting good exposure also. And then I was, as you say, I'm willing to do the risk always because for me is high risk, high reward always. So if the risk is low, then you are not taking the good step. And I really wanted to grow fast. So if you see my career path, in 2014, I was tech team lead, and in 2016, I was senior technical architect. So I really wanted to grow fast in that sense. But only thing is now I want to get certified with this technical architect. Uh,
There.
Nowadays, you have heard of certified technical architect from Salesforce, right? It takes a lot of energy, efforts. The process is quite grueling, and it takes 6 to 12 months of hard work to get past to the review board. So that's my next goal that I will be going for. Yes, finger crossed. But yeah, I have to see my personal situation also because it's quite demanding. So I'm holding off for some years now.
But I'm sure you'll get there, and I'm confident that everybody
Mm-hmm.
who's watching is also keeping fingers crossed for you. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. Now coming to your question about contracting. So
yes,
as you can look, I was very comfortable. So Velocity was acquired by Salesforce, so that was quite a nice move for us. When in 2020 we got the news like we are getting acquired by Salesforce and we will be Salesforce employees afterwards. There was a downside also because we invested in startup, we put our all the energy, and our shares of Velocity didn't get that much price that we would like to have. But it was nevertheless nice move, become a part of a bigger organization where the processes were outlined. You get a lot of benefits. As an employer, I'm very happy with Salesforce, with their compensation plan, with their benefits, with their flexibility. You are never asked to come to office. So in this Corona times, they never asked me to come to office, and I was fortunate to get the remote working. Uh, Also, I was hit by Corona in 2021. That was a bad patch in my life, but they supported me very well that time.
that's
So, yeah.
from them. My question is now, just
Mhm.
before we proceed, have you seen like a big change when Velocity was like a company separated from Salesforce to when it became like a part of Salesforce. Did you feel the change between transition? Obviously, you said it was positive that the kind of remote working was so flexible. The let's say packages or the benefits were still there, but in regards with the product and the work itself that was done, did you see any changes that particularly?
Yes and no. So partly yes, we were part of a business, a bigger enterprise organization now, where process are very outlined. And then you have to go through a chain, and you have portals, different portals to go on. You need to have different access to different portals for the information. So yes, so there was a change, because when we were Vlocity, we were like startup. So all the documentation went at some place, and then you go and you add up all the articles. For the expenses, you have different portal, and that's all. But with Salesforce, you have like Confluence, and then they have equipped documents. So you see that there are different applications that you go through. And but if you ask me about the project wise, it's still the same, because the management of Vlocity is still the same, even the acquisition. If you after the acquisition is done. Nowadays, now we are becoming like a regional community. So if you are part of a EMEA North, so you will be focused on the EMEA North project. But with Vlocity, we were limited people. So our management was from UK, and we were handling the project across Europe from there. So Netherlands has the competency where 20 resources were there, and then the German has some resources, but they were all managed by the UK team. But nowadays, everything is regional.
Yeah.
So that's a difference with Salesforce operations.
Yeah, but it's always
it makes sense.
Exactly. Coming now to what basically happened afterwards, because I think it's like a very interesting thing that you went through. So what was your main reason to actually switch from being a permanent employee with Salesforce to, go ahead and go contracting?
3 things. I would like to first say financial gain. So that's quite foremost for me. One of the financial gains. Second, I wanted to challenge myself whether I become a contractor, how successful I can. Because with Salesforce, you have a lot of architects over you who help you and who shield you. So I want to get out of that shield and try something new for myself. Whether I will be successful in that, can I lead the project? That was the next question. So if I'm alone, because sometimes what happens is someone can overshadow you, and that's their role. But I wanted to come out of that shadow and become and do a successful project. Even if someone is there, that's good. If someone is not there, I can deliver my stuff. So that's quite important for me. That those were the 3 reasons that I wanted to move out from the Salesforce world. And also the growth path. I had some conflict with my manager, so I said, okay. At that time, also I got my permanent residence for Netherlands. So everything comes together, and then I made a move. I got a new good opportunity for media cloud implementation. So I said yes to it, and let's try out. So if you see, I was very much not in position of taking media cloud, because I have never worked with it. It's a new domain for me. But I said it cannot be complex than telco. I have already done telecom. I have already done energy, and now it cannot be more complex than this. So I thought media cloud will be my next domain. I already started it, and I'm glad it's going well.
Good. How are you? Do you find it maybe more? Is it very similar to telco? I would assume it's a little bit different to energy. But is there like a lot of similarity between telco and media? Because obviously now,
of course.
Yeah. Go on.
So definitely telco. The terminology becomes different, right? So for media, there is a different terminology. So, but at the base, there are similar patterns that you use. So the product catalog. So for media, it's different. For telco, is different, and it also different based on your customers, right? Whether it's B2B or B2C. So those factors comes in, and telco becomes very much complex with the order management and fulfillment. If you want to have automated way till order, getting the orders, it's fine with all the APIs. And but once the order management comes in, the technical product decompositions and talking with different system integrations, that becomes complicated. But with Media Cloud, like you have Google, the Google Ad Manager is like you just send out the order to it and it does everything for you.
Oh, that's impressive and good to know for everybody who's kind of concerned about switching.
But this is the first step, right? So this is like integrating with Google also counts as a learning.
Right.
So how do you do that? So, yeah.
It's
constant
growth.
Constant. Exactly. It's constantly growing.
Correct. Okay. And so far in your contracting career, have you faced any challenges or anything that was maybe not as smooth as you expected within freelance world?
Yes, there is always a thought behind. So after your contract duration, what next? So are you going to get a new contract, or how is going to be? And am I going to survive? That's the basic question. But what I feel is like once you start doing it, you feel more confident. So I'm telling you frankly, once I registered my company, I got a very nice feeling like I will work for myself, and then I will decide when to work and when not to work. So if I want to take a 1 or 2 months holiday without a financial loss, I can go for that. So you see, there are benefits, but there are risks also. So you have to balance them, and you have to see the pros and cons for yourself.
Sure, the coin always has two sides, right? Positive and negative, but it's up to
of course. Because with freelancer, you have to see your taxes by yourself. You have to do your insurance by yourself. You don't have pension, so you have to figure it out that yourself. So all these company benefits, right? You don't have to think when you join a big organization. You don't think about all this stuff, right? All the benefits or all the expenses that you get, you don't think about it because there are outlined for you.
Yeah,
and you just have to.
It's for sure like a change of a mindset. We always say that to people that it's like a one day thing when you decide to go contract, and that's it. You actually have to change the way you think before you proceed with it. And probably one of the most kind of frequent question people have: do you within Salesforce and particularly Salesforce Industries, is it secure or safe being actually a freelancer contractor nowadays?
For me, it's too early to talk about that because I just started. So I cannot say much. For me, I can say till this time, I'm doing good. It's going well. But yeah. So, but yes, of course, the skill is niche. The resources which are good and who can do hands-on. So let me tell you frankly, like people can talk all the concept, but once they are in the system, they can't do much. They will look at each other or ask for help, and then you will burn out more time. Like conceptualizing and then implementing, there are two different parts. Running a workshop with the known concept and showing a demo, it's a very different level. You need to do hands-on. If you just come with the theory knowledge or with the training, it won't land you the job you want. And then the freelancing will become a tough for you because you've not done the hands-on.
Yeah, that's always the struggle. The hands-on.
Yeah. So for me, it's really like if you're hands-on and if you kind of bring the business value, nobody can stop you. So if you put a good thought on the table, and that brings a business value for any domain, right? It doesn't matter, it's media, energy, telco, health insurance. But if you can give a good solution that can improvise their business process, they are going to like it. So it's always mutual. So if you're making a difference in their life, they will make a difference in your life with flexibility and money. So yeah. So for me, it's always mutual.
Sure. Yeah, that's very, very true. And a very, very also important question, I would say, for anyone who's currently, within the Vlocity or even maybe Salesforce ecosystem, what do you, recommend to anyone who's kind of maybe thinking about going contract? I know it's so far quite early days to talk about it, but do you have any maybe advice to them? Again, like you just said, that being hands-on is something that is needed. But apart from that, do you give advice to anyone?
Few ones. Basically, fix your industry that you want to become a consultant for. That's very important, because with Salesforce industry, you can be a horizontal platform, you can be digital platform, but to become a depth knowledge of a domain, you need to choose a domain first. So if you want to become a contractor, choose your domain wisely and choose a domain which interests you more.
That's a very, very good advice. I think people nowadays a little bit forget about the interest, because we're so oriented on what is hot, what will be hot in upcoming years. But the interest also plays an important part for being actually successful in the delivering the work.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And the second part is be true yourself and know your strengths and weaknesses, because freelancing is always, you have to do admin work, you have to do developer work. You cannot be confined to one role, because you have been asked for a lot of things. You need to think of at one point from a developer point of view, one point from the business stakeholder, or from a domain solution architect. So you have to wear different hats. You cannot be concise to your one role, like I will deliver this and then I'm going back to my home. God, that's my role.
No, that's
so that's a different mindset altogether, because when you're a contractor, you are expected to do these things.
But that's where.
So if you're up for that, then definitely make a move, and of course make sure you have, in whichever country you are, see the contracting life. What are the visa requirements? That's quite important, because it can be a tough ride. Also, it can be a shaky boat at the time. So be safe and figure it out, your visa situation and how you can handle that.
Yeah, for sure. That's always the first step. Good.
Indeed.
It's been a very inspiring hearing out your career roadmap overall, and obviously understanding how did you become or came to the mindset of becoming a freelancer, and really appreciate you sharing all your experience. And I do believe it will be for many of us very inspiring to see somebody being as brave as you and cross switch from a .NET to Salesforce to Salesforce Industries then, and across different industries itself between. That's absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Yes, Nicolita, last but not least, but I am where I am because of my parents and my life partner, because they all supported me in my journey, whether it's high and lows. And also this is also important point. If you're married, ask your partner before going to contracting, because this is gonna change your life forever.
Yeah, we wouldn't be lucky enough to have you here without them. So that's amazing. And myself and everybody who's in the Salesforce Industries ecosystem will keep the fingers crossed for your CTA. And it was absolutely a pleasure having you here.